Alright, time for another video. We are going to, I'm going to finish this up, get it sanded and sprayed, pressure wash the back. I'm going to spray some new paint. We're going to drop the plastic bed liner in, and I've got the part that goes on the tailgate. I'm pulling that off my other green Suburban, not Suburban, but my Silverado. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to pull that out. Since I'm selling it, I didn't want to spray in the bed liner. That's going to be the next person's responsibility. And we do have a buyer for this already. As soon as we get it done, he wants to buy it. He knows we were wanting to do the cosmetics and get all that done. So he's going to give us what we want for it, and we're not giving it away. We did get the top of these sanded off real nice and painted. There is a bit of a paint color, but he's going to put those plastic caps on it that wrap around so that I cover it up. This was just to get all that rust and them holes covered up. We took care of the rust, got all that done, so that turned out really well. So we're working on cosmetics. I had to do some brake work on it. The brakes were feeling kind of funny. First thing that started it is we replaced the rubber brake lines up in here. I got to get that skirt right there. That thing fell apart. Right here, that skirt fell apart. But we replaced the rubber brake lines. We would flush the brakes, but the reservoir for the front brakes would get dirty again. So I think those rubber brake lines were getting deteriorated. So we took the tires off, replaced them, put them back on, and we were getting some vibration when we hit the brakes, like the rotor was warped, and I knew that rotor wasn't warped. And while we took it off again to look at it, we went ahead and cleaned the caliper, all the rust and corrosion off of it. And I noticed, and this has got one of those smaller rotors on it. Well, on the surfaces where everything bolts together, the back, where you have your axle, you put your brake drum on, I'm not drum, but rotor, and then put the rims on. I noticed all them surfaces, water gotten in there, and there was a little bit of rust that kind of just pushed up just a little bit. So we put the pads on it. I went ahead, took my die grinder with a wire wheel. I cleaned every surface that would cause some wobble. Well, we put it back together and drove it smooth as hell, no wobble anymore. So if you're doing a brake job and you get a little bit of wobble or something like that, check that out. And it's real easy to wire brush it. I use my die grinder, but you can use something else. But make sure and get that off of there. And we put new boots on the slide pins, pads. The rotors were in pristine condition, so I didn't have to get them turned. A lot of people just throw them away one time. I don't do that. If there's enough left on it where I can turn a rotor or a drum, I will. It's just stupid to pay more than you have to. Alright, we also noticed when we're having weird brake problems, the brake light was coming on. And it was going a little floor just a little bit more than I like. And any of y'all have worked on drum brakes, you know, if you're losing a little bit of fluid in there and it works like that, well, I had a rear wheel cylinder back here leaking. So we were going to pull the backs off anyway and clean and adjust the rear brake. So while we had it off, we put a new wheel cylinder on it, cleaned everything up real good, and I did the same thing on here. I cleaned inside of the drum, the outside, the back of the rim, and on the end of the axle, and got all nice and pretty and clean because I don't want any vibration. We've got to get new center caps for it before we sell it. These cheap ones just rust out too much. So yeah, and then on these back brakes, they changed the way the springs are laid out. I had spring tools to expand the springs and hook them on like they used to. If you've worked on before, you know there was a stud up top with the little round piece on the end to keep from sliding off, and your shoes sat in there, and then you had two springs that go up there. Well, these are nothing like it. You can't get and adjust the brakes with that slot hole in the back with a brake spoon. They don't do it. Now they've got 2 holes on each side that happen to line up with the shoes, and I think what that's for is you poke screwdrivers in there and you can compress those shoes and force some fluid out of it. It makes it easier to get that drum off. I think that's what it's for. I don't know for sure, but the way it lines up, I'm just sure that's what it is. It'd be the most logical thing. We got to finish the interior. I've got some door handles ordered. I'm going to recover this. I got to fix the pad right here. I'm not buying a new one. I know how to fix this, so I'll fix that. We'll get the headliner back in. We don't have any drips in this thing anymore. Clean it up real good and get it spiffed up and pretty looking. Like I said, the guy that's buying it is just waiting on us. You know, and I hate getting rid of this thing. And we didn't buy it to sell it, but we just don't use a 4-wheel drive vehicle that much. It was just not getting used, and there's a lot of things I probably wouldn't have fixed that would have been okay, but I'm torn about getting rid of it. It's such a good truck now. It just runs so good, everything like that. We're taking it in a couple weeks. I got my friend who's going to take care of my bullet holes and a couple little places. I got a little bit of paint right here, and get that done. We're gonna have to pull this off. It's already coming loose anyway. I'm surprised that sucker hadn't fell off. And we're gonna get all that redone and buy a new set of these, because the other side, where it hooks on, it pulled a little bit of paint off. So we're just gonna put another one back on and cover it up. Those are real handy anyway. I like using those. So I think that's it this time. I just wanted to do a quick update on it. Of course, we'll get all this painted up right. We didn't care about the overspray right now. It's got to be hit again with some paint. So that's where we're at. Y'all have a good one.